at SMITHEE TV in downtown Toronto with writer-director LEAH WALKER. What inspired the writing of your feature film, Deadweight?
I think what inspired us is we wanted to make a low-budget movie that was possible. We originally wrote it to be shot at our cottage, and then the fact that our cottage has no electricity and it's in the middle of an island in the middle of nowhere, it's sort of the reality set in, and Sudbury substituted for our own cottage, which is where we originally envisioned the story. But we wanted to do something that kind of was personal to us, but also something which is in a genre that we're interested in, which is kind of a thriller, but a little bit more psychological. So it's not, you know, a scary horror movie, but it's a thriller and it's got action, and at the same time, the sort of essential question behind it is something that we are interested in ourselves. So what would people sacrifice to become part of the 1% is what we wanted to explore through the story.
And what's it like working with your brother?
It's really good. We've been working together for 12 years, and I sometimes feel a little guilty because he was on this track to med school, so I sucked him in, and he fell in love with acting actually first, and then we made our first short together and haven't looked back since. And I think it's our sort of mutual visions really come together once we started writing, and we just realized that we have really similar ideas, and we're just fascinated by the same kinds of things. So it's been great. I love working with him.
What was your casting process like for the film?
It was intense. It was a cool process. The first person we cast was Richard, and he's our lead, our young lawyer, and that was Josh Close, and he's someone who starred in our first feature, and we've remained friends with him, and we just thought he was the best. We love working with him, and he's so talented, and has been doing great stuff in LA, and so we really put him in first. And then we were lucky enough to get it to Sam Trammell. So, and I was just so pleased, because at different points you're kind of like, it's a juggling when you have 4 main characters, and how many of them can be Canadian, how many can be American. All those little logistics really get in the way sometimes of just saying, oh, I just want to cast these people, and it's scheduling, and so we lost people and got people due to different times as we sort of developed in pre-production. But we ended up, with Sam, who is the older lawyer, and he was so much fun to work with, and completely different than in True Blood, which was really fun. And then Laura Harris, who's an amazing Canadian actress who also lives in LA now. And Lena Rossler, who hasn't done a huge amount of stuff. She's kind of like our discovery, but she was amazing. Every day I felt so lucky to be working with them, because we didn't have a lot of time. And I literally, they flew in the night before, so I had no rehearsal. So I just had to count on their own talents and the ability that while we were shooting, we could work through any issues that came up.
And what's your directing process like? What do you go through on set? Like, how do you work with the actors?
My directing process. I don't know, I guess for each movie it's different. I mean, I've only done 2 features and a few shorts, but I think my process is to try to collaborate with people that I really respect. And so I'd love to hear different people's opinions, but then you have to sort of filter it and make sure that one sort of idea of the movie is coming through. And I always think that it's a bit like, it sounds sort of cheesy, but it's kind of like carving. You start with this like lump of clay, I guess, or stone, and you just kind of keep bashing away at it, and slowly it gets revealed. So by the time the process is done and you're kind of doing interviews, you finally realize what the movie's about. So you start off and you're a little bit in the dark, I think. Even though we wrote the script and we thought we knew everything, shooting it was completely different, and now we've just finished editing it, and it's always sort of morphing and changing. So yeah, interesting process.
And tell me a little bit more about the story. What's at the heart of it?
Okay, the story is basically about a young lawyer and his wife who have to go up to his boss's cottage for the weekend to make amends for a mistake he made at work that could cost him his job. So they sort of show up there, you know, trying to convince the boss and his wife not to fire him. And the older couple is actually very charming, and they welcome them warmly into their cottage lifestyle and sort of seduce the younger couple by what they're showing them, the sort of lavish life that they have in the boat and the beautiful cottage and the gorgeous wine and all that kind of stuff. And then, so the young couple sort of warms up to this, and then after a tragic accident happens after dinner, they realize that they've sort of stepped into a blood feud between this older couple and some local brothers. and they're forced to pick sides. And ultimately, they have to decide how much they're really going to sacrifice for the life that they think they want.
Wow. And while you were shooting this film up in Sudbury, you were also a new mom. Mm-hmm. What was that experience like?
That was really intense. Mm-hmm. It was, I always think of filmmaking a lot like giving birth. It's like very painful and intense, and it sort of backbone building and character building, and it tries you in so many different ways. Mm-hmm. But then you forget all about it after, and you just remember kind of the amazing thing that came out of that, and maybe the relationships that you made, and the strength that you find in yourself. And so I found that an interesting parallel to kind of have this 5-month-old baby, who I nursed throughout the making of the film and shooting, and then to be shooting, because I mean, it's so lucky to be in the position to get to shoot a feature that I was like, I'm going to do both. Mm-hmm. So it was interesting. I had a lovely woman from Sudbury who helped me out a lot, and she was kind of at my side with my baby and would like run her over in between so I could nurse her. Did some MOS shots nursing at the monitor, and I think it was the nicest thing was, and I was very worried, would people take me seriously if I was nursing, or had a baby around the whole time. And I have to say, people were amazing. The cast and crew, almost 100% just came together, and they were so warm and supportive of the whole thing. And I think it actually, it brought us all together in a certain way. And some of them were missing their own kids because everyone was in Sudbury, so they were really happy to play with my daughter, and she thought it was the best thing ever. So she got so much attention. So it was interesting.
And what advice would you give to a female filmmaker who is expecting a child, or who's maybe having a child and wondering if they should direct a film? Would you say that it was definitely worth it?
Oh yeah, it was definitely worth it. It was weird because I did Google it before. I was like, pregnant female directors, and what came up was like Reese Witherspoon acted in a movie when she was a few months pregnant. And I was like, that doesn't count. This is different. I have to be on set the whole time. Like, there's no trailer for me. There's none of that. I'd say go for it, because you never know when either is going to happen. There's no perfect time. When we submitted to Telefilm, we didn't know that we would get it. So, when I was about to give birth, it was sort of like, actually, it's an interesting story. We submitted to Telefilm, and I was under so much stress that my OBGYN actually said, I think you might be delaying birth because you're so stressed about this application. Handed in an application Friday morning, went out for dinner with my family Friday night, and went into labor that night.
Wow.
So yeah, they're so inextricably linked for me, the whole birth and Telefilm and the movie. And so I'd say go for it. I recommend it, but have help. Okay. My husband, the fact that he moved to Sudbury for 7 weeks, and my other daughter also moved there, was amazing. So if you have a good family and support system and a great cast and crew, I think it's possible.
Great. And where's the best place to find out more information on you and on the film online?
That's a good question. We're just getting our, I believe it's Deadweight the movie, but I should confirm that for you.com. We're getting our website up and running. Because we're just locking the picture, we're going to have a trailer probably in the next 6 weeks. And we have a Facebook page. You can like us on Facebook. Awesome. Deadweight the movie.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Congratulations on the baby and on the film, and best of luck. I can't wait to see it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm Katie Uhlmann reporting for Katie Chats here at SMITHEE TV in downtown Toronto.